See, I always think I look cool in hoodies, but I end up just looking like like the Red Riding Hood, but in 2008, and she's listening to My Chemical Romance.
I chime in with the haven't you people ever heard of?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Maya. Today we're talking about my least favorite books of 2018. A month into 2019 because I'm salty. I don't own a lot of the books that I'm about to talk about because I don't own books that I don't like. So let's get to the business. Let's get to business, shall we? I don't have a particular order. These are just really bad books that I didn't like. I shouldn't really have to do this disclaimer, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I can already feel the hate comments. Just know that I didn't like this book, and it's kind of too late to change my opinion as to how I felt the first time I read this book. If you want to debate me down below, I'm actually really down to listen to you, unless it was transphobic or homophobic or racist or sexist. The first book I'm about to talk about is A Court of, which one was it? A Court of, oh my god, I'm forgetting. It's one of the, it's the one that came out this year that everyone hated. Oh, say it, that's how bad it is. A Court of Frost and Starlight. This book, goddamn, let me just tell you how useless this book is. I actually low-key like the Tar series. I don't love it with Burning Passion just because it has some parallels with Throne of Glass and they get me mad. It's like very smutty. I think that's my biggest issue with A Thorn of Frost and Starlight. A Thorn of Frost and I can't say this freaking sentence. It's just like so much smut. It made me realize that Feyre and Ryson's relationship is like purely sexual, which there's nothing wrong with that, with having a purely sexual relationship, but the thing is, it makes it like Sarah J. Maas tries to make it seem like it's like a healthy relationship where like they care about each other and they like love each other, but in reality, no. This book, Akafas, is just Feyre looking at Ryson being like, and I'm not a fan of smut. Like I don't really care about it. The smut that I like is the stuff that's in the Dark Artifices, like low-key stuff. Like I don't even know if people consider that smut, but like over that, like I just get kind of, I'm a pure child, man. What can I say? The only thing that made me invested was the political stuff, and there was like 3 pages of that. And other than that, it was basically like the Real Housewives of the Night Court. That was it. Like, what am I gonna get my boyfriend for Christmas? It's also like an unhealthy relationship, right? Like, you shouldn't just look at each other and all you think of immediately is like, that dress looks so good on her. Like, you want a healthy relationship where you like praise each other's looks, but also where you talk to each other and value each other's intellect and values and philosophies and talk about things. It's a bad book. Don't like it. 10 out of 10 would not recommend. Don't read it unless you're a fat fan of this series, but you probably already have read it if you are. So, next book I want to talk about is This Is Where It Ends by Mariek Nijiumka. I am genuinely sorry. I'm not doing that on purpose. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Why did I not like this book? I think this book had a lot of potential. I read this book during the Never Again movement, and I'm a high schooler, so it kind of hits home. And so I wanted to read a book that talked about school shootings and those different aspects. And in the end, it felt like sort of like a soap drama. Like it was over dramatized, didn't feel realistic. There was a lot of backstory and not enough of like in the moment. And I think I get that like the backstory is important, and I get that Mariek was trying to really, I'm sorry, I'm playing with slime right now because I'm 5 years old, apparently. I'm gonna put this down. I get that she was trying to show that like people feel guilt and people feel that they might have been able to change the shooter's decision and they feel that guilt, but honestly that message overall wasn't accomplished in a good manner, because when I'm reading a book about school shootings, I want to like know what people are thinking during the school shooting. I'm trying to get that pathos of within the school shooting and possibly like the post-school shooting vibes, but like I don't care about the shooter. Like, I don't want to know his backstory. I don't give a fuck about him. Nothing ever could, like, pardon what this person did, right? It just felt redundant because, I don't know, just didn't like it. Didn't get the message I was trying to get. The next book I want to talk about is Ready Player One. I read this book because the movie was coming out, and I'm that person that's like, I need to read the book before the movie comes out. And my mom really liked this book, and my best friend really liked this book. So I was like, I guess I have to read it. And I was expecting to, like it and be like, wow, this book, like, ooh, I'm wise and I read this book. But it was so boring to me. Maybe it's because I don't get any of the references because I'm a 2000s kid. I feel like that's not like intellectual of an explanation. And I didn't care about this quest. I didn't care about ending the quest. The twist at the end, or like the reveal at the end, was just like stupid, and I was just mad at it, and I was like, this really? If you watch the movie and didn't read the book, like, know that the book is better, but I wouldn't recommend reading the book anyway. Honestly, like, if you want to read a book that's like Ready Player One, read Warcross. I thought Warcross was better. Next book that I want to talk about is Smoke in the Sun by Renee Ahdieh. Disappointment. I really liked Flame in the Mist, which is the first book in this series, and I like binge read it and really liked it and had like a great time. It's a book that centers around Japanese culture, which you never get in YA, and I was here for it, and I thought it was really well done. I had such a good time. This book tried so hard to be a political book, or tried so hard to be so many different things at once. It tried to be tried to bring in this new magic aspect that was just not well developed. It tried really hard to be a political book and failed miserably. Lost focus of the main character, who I liked the main character in this book, and she just like changed so much in the second book that I just was so bored of her. Some new characters are introduced and I just don't care about them. It was just so much was going on in this book that I like lost interest. And then I also like often got confused because due to some events that happen, things get switched around, and I just kept confusing people for things and events for others, and I was lost, and I didn't like this book. Disappointing, really sad, because I really wanted to like this book. The next book, where's my fucking list? Okay, I look so pale. I look so bad in this video. Just as bad as these books, am I right? The next book on my list is Ace of Shades. God, I'm so angry at this book. I'm so angry. I wanted this book to be so much more than it was. I picked up this book on a whim because it said The House of the Rising Sun meets Six of Crows, and I was like, Six of Crows? I was literally setting myself up for disappointment. It's not like I'm going to get a book that's better than Six of Crows, or even remotely similar to Six of Crows. This was just, it tried so hard to be Six of Crows and failed utterly at it. I actually really love the representation for this book, and that's why I kind of feel guilty putting it on this list, but in reality, like, representation can't carry a book. One, it was like uninteresting, and the world was just confusing. Like, you have these, I haven't been telling people what these books have been about. Well, whatever. The thing about this book is that it suffers so hard from telling and not showing. The book is like, oh my god, this guy's so ruthless and so smart, and he like manipulates puppy games, and he's so good at everything. But like, you never see him do that, and it's not nearly as cleverly written as when Kaz does things. N.A. was like not an interesting character. She was like a cookie cutout version of, she was like that girl from Peter Pan. That blonde one. The big girl that's like, I'm too good for everything. I'm more mad that I bought this with my own money because it was like expensive. I guess that's what I'm trying to say, is that it was not memorable. The only memorable thing about this book was the representation. It was like a typical like, my mom's missing, gotta go find her. That in itself is like, oh, okay, like just like every other fucking book. And then ultimately my last least favorite books of the year are Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm. I just read Rune and Rising like this month, and oh my god, it was also really bad. So I've already said multiple times that I don't like Shadow and Bone, but it's just like boring. Like, Alina is boring, and it's like a cookie cutout YA fantasy. The characters are bland like bread. The Darkling is just dark. Like, Leigh Bardugo really didn't try on that one. She was like, I just can't stand when people like idolize that relationship, because when you really look into it, it's like a toxic relationship. Darkling is a bad person. It's rare that a quote-unquote villain is like, I'm doing this out of evil because I'm evil, ha ha. Like, no, it's like they do things because they think it's for the good of the people. As much as they're wrong, they think they're doing good. The reason I read this series in the first place is because of King of Scars, and Nikolai was just kind of a disappointing character because everyone hyped him up so high. I just think he's a little too perfect, you know? Like, he's hot, and he's also smart, and also he's charismatic, and also he's hot, and also he's funny, and also he's sassy, and also he finesses. And like, it's like, what are you bad at? You know what I mean? Like, he's good at sports too. Like, bitch, like, I'm jealous. Those are all the bad books that I read in 2018. Make sure to leave a hate comment down below. How are you supposed to trust someone's opinion if they like every single book? You know what I mean? Have a great rest of your weekend. Get hyped for King of Scars. Also, like, Read with Cindy, like, shouted me out, which was whack. I was so shook when that happened. I'll see you next time. Bye!
I could trust you, you open me up to making everything like new, but it's still just a